everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Superconscious Sundays. Hi. How are you? I'm so excited, as always, to be here with you on this beautiful Sunday morning. Um, Today's topic, we are going to be talking about the famous, well-known uh, mathematical formula known as the law of relativity of motion. And this is E equals mc squared. And it's all about that idea of energy, and matter cannot be um, destroyed or created in this universe that we live in. So we live in a universe in which matter is either in the form of matter, like you and I, or this crystal, or this lighter, or this cup, or whatever, like matter, or in the form of energy. And we measure energy um, in the speed of light. How fast is the energy moving in comparison to the speed of light, right? Energy is always moving at the speed of light. So E, energy, equals matter times the speed of light squared, right? So we're not going to get into like the mathematical part of it. I just want you to have that idea as you're like, okay, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about energy and matter and how they are equal to each other, right? Because if energy equals matter times the speed of light squared, that means that matter is equal to energy divided by the speed of light squared, right? We remember the distributive property or whatever. Communicative property. I have a 6-year-old or a sixth grader, so I'm actually learning this math stuff again. So as always on Superconscious Sundays, we start by lighting a candle, setting our intentions. So we're gonna start with that today. And we're just gonna light a candle today to allow us to really connect into this knowing of ourselves as energy and how to play with our own energetic field. How we're opening the communications fully between the divine and ourselves, calling in the dragons, guides, angels, interstellar beings, inner earth beings, anyone, ancestors, any guides, beings of light who are here to assist us with this specific lecture today. We call upon you and we welcome you in to this space. So we light our candle. Yes, today we have a candle of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And then we light our incense from the same flame. Light our incense from the same flame. And we bring in the polarities into the singularity, creating a sacred space, a safe container for us to discuss all things quantum, metaphysical, mythological, spiritual, emotional, mental, physical, whatever needs to come out and through today is being channeled through in the highest good of all beings for the betterment of humanity and the ascension of our planet. So put this right here. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, when we're ready. So, why would we want to play with energy and motion? Let's start there. Why would we want to play with this? Why is it so important for us to go back and relearn a formula that none of us probably ever remembered to begin with, and yet we see it everywhere, right? E equals mc squared. Energy equals matter times the speed of light squared. So here's where we really want to start to play with this idea that we can span across multidimensionality, right? We can see ourselves as our physical vessel, and within our physical vessel we have 8 major chakra centers, right? We have the Throat Chakra right here at the base of our spine, right at the perineum, between where the genitals and the anus meet. We have the Sacral Chakra, which is right at the womb space, so right in between your hip bones, even in men. You have the Solar Plexus Chakra, which is right here, where I have this awesome tattoo, Facebook, so you can see it. Right here at the rib cage, like right where the rib cage meets. You have the heart chakra, which is right in between the nipples, right at the heart, like the physical heart. And then you have the higher heart chakra, which is right here at this sternal notch, this like soft pot. And then you have your actual throat chakra, which is closer to like right here. Like when you're sick and they're like pushing right here on your glands, that's the throat chakra, which is why throat chakra openings can also like it affects the whole ENT area, right? It like affects your ears and your nose and your throat when you have throat chakra openings. You have the third eye, which is at the pineal gland, which is if you were to imagine like a direct dot, like here, here, and here, right there in the center, that is where your pineal gland is. It is the part of your brain that actually is able to detect light and has your circadian rhythm. That's where it exists, where you decide like where your body decides whether or not you're awake or asleep. So pineal gland, that's your third eye, and then the crown, which is right here at the soft spot. If you were a baby, where your soft spot would be. So those are our 8 major chakra centers, and they radiate. Hi, Maurice. Hi, everyone. They radiate energy, right? We can see this on scans. There's all sorts of different technology that allows us to see this. And we within our physical body have energy centers that we are capable of manipulating. We hear about it all the time. Oh, I'm going to get my chakras cleared. I'm getting this done. I'm activating. I'm this, that, and the other. But our chakra pillar within our physical vessel is how we have the power to manipulate our physical reality. But you have other chakras, right, that are outside of your physical body. You have the Earth Star chakra that's located about 18 inches below the Earth. Um, it's your billionaire, it's your $1 billion star. That is your support all of your resources from Gaia. You also have your causal chakra, which is like this moon above you, about 18 inches above your head, which is where all of your imagination is. Your imagination is in the causal chakra, how you start really being able to think a thought and then within your physical reality manipulate it. But then you keep going up and up and up. And I'm only going to talk about the 13 chakra pillar system. There are some systems out there that are like 44 chakras or 100 chakras. Like these are the main ones that I work with and that the dragons work with. The ones that they're like, these are the ones that actually fucking matter. The rest of them, yes, they might exist, but they're so minor. The dragons need to know how to manipulate the main energy systems, and the other ones will just automatically like click on. So then you have the higher ones. You've got your soul star, you have your stellar gateway, and you have your cosmic gateway. So these are all different chakras that are all coming down and being projected by your oversoul. Your oversoul and your higher self and your physical self, they're all working together to create this physical body, this matter that is you, that's really just energy that's been condensed. And now you have these 7 chakras, 8 chakras that you can manipulate in different ways that will then affect your physical reality in different ways, your physical body in different ways. Okay. So let's back up. The oversoul. The oversoul is your higher self from all different lifetimes, from all different timelines in one consciousness. It's still your individual consciousness, so it's still the Christ consciousness ideal of not sourced directly. It's your oversoul. It's the original soul spark that was created, and because time and space don't actually exist, is living and helping guide every single timeline of any incarnation that you have ever played in any universe ever. That's what your oversoul's job is. So the oversoul is the Holy Spirit, if you think of it that way, but it's personal, right? Again, so you have the all, you have Christ consciousness. Within Christ consciousness, there's that oversoul, and that's where the distinction of the fractals start coming in. I'm a fractal of Christ, you're a fractal of Christ, we're all fractals of each other, but we have individual oversouls that are overseeing everything that we're doing. Then our higher self is the voice of the oversoul in this lifetime that we're connecting to, right? So you want to talk to your higher self. You're talking to the part of your oversoul that's helping you fulfill your destiny in this timeline that you're conscious of. The oversoul is like talking to every version of you in all of the different timelines and all the different higher selves. So it's again this delineation to make it easier for your physical vessel that is now multiple times removed from the source of all life and existence to be able to come back into that conversation. Let me know if you have questions or anything, please make sure you drop them in the comments and I will come to them as I get to them. My husband was supposed to bring me coffee, so I really hope that that's something that happens. Okay. So the higher self, you're in conversation with your higher self. Your higher self is like, yes, this is what we need to be doing. She is aware, he is aware, it is aware of how you are in conversation within this reality, in this time and space, and how to teach you how to manipulate your energy centers. And the energy centers are what we're mostly going to be talking about with this idea of playing with energy and motion. Playing is the biggest word that I want you to take out from this, because I am hitting you with so much science and neuroscience and quantum science and electromagnetism that it can, and like mythos and spirituality, that it can be hard for your logical brain to like keep up, and it wants to start writing notes and it wants to start doing all this stuff. But are you really going to go back and read your notes? And if you did, would it really hit? So let's play instead, because play is a lot easier way for us to start really noticing our abilities to manipulate. Okay. So we'll start by just lighting up each of the chakras so that we can come into that full resonance field and you can start to feel what we're talking about when it comes to this, what matters to me, right? Okay. So tap into your root chakra, so the space in between your anus and your perineum. It is your perineum between your anus and your genitals. That little piece of flesh, and just feel the sensations there for a minute. What does it feel like? Do you feel closed off? Do you feel open? Is it warm? Is it stone cold? Have you ever thought about this part of your body before? Just really start connecting there for a second. Now, while you're here and you're noticing this, connect now to the color red and the note of C. Okay? And allow the color red and the note of C to come in and start to light up and change the frequency of that root chakra. And again, now just notice, just by adding the words, just by adding the idea of the color red and the note of C, what is that changing in your root chakra right now? How does it feel? Is it warming up? Is it getting tingly? Is it cooling down? Is it softening? Is it getting more rigid? Just take notice. Okay, now we're going to move up. We're going to do the same thing with the sacral center. So the sacral center is located right in between the bony parts of your hip on the front, and you just come and meet in the middle. It's about 2 finger widths underneath your navel point. This is your solar plexus, your second chakra. This is your creative center. And you're going to do the same thing again. How does your sacral center feel right now? What are you noticing about it? Is it closed? Is it hard? And now we're going to add in the color orange and the note of D. That's it. The color orange and the note of D, focused at the sacral center. How does that begin to shift how you feel in your sacral center? I do need to go get something to drink, so you guys sit with that for a sec. I'll be right. Oh my god, he brought me my coffee. It was just up on my little table. Relaxing. Perfect. Thank you, Christina. So now let's move up to the solar plexus. So again, the part in between your rib cage, like right where your ribs like meet each other, just below that. So not quite your xiphoid process, like the part that they tell you to like watch out for if you're doing CPR, but just below it where that soft spot is, where you get that gut feeling, right? When you're like, "Ooh, this is a bad idea." That's your sacral center, or sorry, your solar plexus. And again, how does your solar plexus feel? And now that we're coming up a little bit, it's a little bit easier to like actually take your hands and feel it. So push on it. Is it soft? Can you like push in? Is it really hard? When you push, does it make you queasy? I don't like push super hard, only about like, I don't know, 5 to 7 grams of pressure. So like the weight of a nickel. Just pushing here. How does it feel? What are you noticing? I say solar plexus. What thoughts are starting to come up around it? And now adding to the solar plexus the color yellow and the note of E. How does it change it? How does adding the color yellow and the note of E change your solar plexus? Coming up to the heart now. So the anatomical heart in between the nipples, right behind the rib cage. The heart center here is, how does it feel? Does it feel closed? Check your posture. How are you sitting? That'll be the first indicator of how your heart center is feeling and your solar plexus actually. How's your posture? Are you like, have you been doing this whole thing like bent in half, or are you sitting with an erect spine? So feel your heart. Good morning, everyone. We're running through, for those of you who are tuning in, we're running through our chakra pillar system and tuning in and seeing how it feels when we're just like in our regular state, and then we're adding its color and its note to see how we can feel the difference. Because it's about feeling. If you don't know how to feel your physical vessel, you'll never learn how to manipulate it, and then you'll never, and if you can't manipulate your own physical vessel, you can't manipulate the external reality to any sort of like pinpointedness at all. The chaos will just ensue. So that's why I'm teaching you like real actual fucking tools and not just lecturing at you for an hour. So the heart, we're gonna add green and we're gonna add the note of F. How does it feel to your heart when you go from not thinking of anything except for your heart and feeling that to then now adding this intention of green and the note of F? Now moving up, we're not going to do the higher heart right now. We're going to actually come back to it, just because of it's a little tricky. So we're going to come up to the one you guys are more aware of, which is the throat. Your heartbeat stands out. That's good. Yeah. See, you add in that little extra bit of energy, and now all of a sudden you can really notice your heartbeat. That's awesome, Maurice. That's great awareness. Okay. So up to the throat. Again, it's right here, like right where your Adam's apple. So swallow, it's your hyoid bone. So if you just swallow, you can feel this little bone right here that shifts when you swallow. That is where your throat chakra is. Okay. Mine's a little hoarse, but I was also up creating till really late last night. So again, just noticing your throat, noticing your inner ear, noticing your jaw. All of this is your throat chakra. It takes on a lot. So feel it. What does it feel like? Can you put your hands up here? Does it feel a little swollen or sort of the touch? Be aware of the matter that is your physical vessel. Okay. Now to the throat chakra, we're going to add blue. It's like a more of a sky blue color. And the note of G. Yeah, and the note of G to the throat. What happens there? I honestly automatically started coughing. So clearing, right? Notice these other things. Like what happens? Did you sneeze? Did you cough? When you were tuning into other chakras, like what was the reaction that you had? These are all just notations. You're just taking little notes in your mind. Okay. Coming up to the third eye now. The third eye again being your pineal gland, so right in the center of your head, center of your brain right here. Just notice it. Close your eyes for a second. You can roll your gaze inwards and upwards, so it's like you're crossing your eyes and then looking up at the same time, but your eyes are closed when you're doing it, so you're not like for everyone to see, because that could be like really intense for other people. So you close your eyes, cross them, and then move your gaze upwards. That will actually put pressure on your pineal gland. So if you're new to meditating, that's like a really good way to open your third eye. But a lot of people don't really know where their pineal gland is, so that's like a good way to start focusing the center. So just close your eyes for a second. Notice, do I even like have an awareness of my third eye? If not, close your eyes, like keep them closed and turn your gaze inwards and upwards. Take stock. How does it feel? Is that super hard to do? Now, add in indigo, so more of a darker blue, and purple, dark blue purple, and the note of A to your third eye. Whew. How does that shift it? Start sneezing? Did you get tingly? What's happening? And then finally coming to the top of your head, the top of your crown right here. And just noticing how does it feel? Again, do you feel like it's a plug? Like can you pull the top of your head right here and like pull it straight up and feel like, oh yeah, I'm connected? Or do you have to like, is your head tilted? Like where are you at? That's a really good awareness just to start with. Then focus the energy at the top, focus at the top of your head. How does your head feel? Is it cold? Is it closed? Have you ever thought about the top of your head before? Okay. And now to the crown of your head, we're going to add the color violet, purple, and the note of B. And how does that shift? Okay. Now that we've already made a connection with the other ones, we can come back to this higher heart. The higher heart is one of those ones that like most people don't even have an awareness of their higher heart at all. This is like a plug directly in to source. This is where your higher self is entering your body. like that resides in your body. Last week when we did the dragon key activation, the dragon key lives in your higher heart, right? In that center of your sacred heart chakra. So now that we've gone through and kind of woke up the rest of the pillars, since the higher heart is a higher dimensional chakra, it's not one that like everyone has active already. Let's go back and tune in and see how many of you have any sort of sensation. It doesn't have to be a lot. This is more for fun. Most people are going to tell you we only have 7 chakras, but I help with higher heart activations and being able to step into that lion's heart and live in your dragon heart all the time. So we're going to come back. So again, your sternal notch, it's this point where your clavicle meets. It's just like that soft spot right here. You can see like, I can grab my SCM right here. And there's just like this spot. There's my sternum. There's my clavicle right here. This is your higher heart. Okay. And just tuning in there. How does it feel? And to here, you're going to add the color pink. And the note is actually, it seems weird because it's dissonant, but you're going to actually add the sound, the note of F sharp. Okay. It hurts, painful. As soon as I started softly patting down. Oh, as soon as you started patting it down, it ignited a fire in your chest. Yep. It's a big one. The higher heart is coming online for a ton of people right now, and they're just not aware of it. Mostly because a lot of people think that their throat chakra is right here, but it's not. It's your higher heart chakra. So adding the color pink and the note of F sharp, yes, it's a dissonant. It's a minor chord compared to all the other ones we just did was in like C major, right? Which is the regular scale that we do. This is a minor. That's because we have to add the dissonance in. The next level of chakras that are coming online for people have that like more Phantom of the Opera kind of vibe to it. Um, that's a totally different live stream, but we're playing with frequencies, right? So I'm adding color and I'm adding sound to each of the chakras. And I didn't even actually play the notes. I just told you to try to pull them out of the ether. Some of you literally are like, I don't know what C sounds like. C is the first note in do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or um, somewhere, somewhere. That's a whole scale. So some and where, they're both C's. But I didn't actually even sing them to you. If you were, the reason why sound bowls and stuff like that work is because you're actually getting the harmonic frequency of the note coming in and activating, right? This was just thinking. I didn't actually shine the color red onto your root chakra. We just thought about the color red. This is to prove a point, so I hope you understand that. Your electromagnetic brain here, there's a giant magnet inside of your skull that helps you to discern your reality around you. Thoughts are things. Your whole world is based on the thoughts that you have in your own brain. 3 people occupying the same room at 3 different levels of consciousness are going to experience 3 different realities, even though they're in the same, like the person watching on the camera thinks that they're in the same room, right? And even he's in a different plane of reality. So just by adding a color, the thought of a color, and the thought of a sound, how was that exercise for you guys going through each of your chakras, noticing them as they were, and then adding just the thoughts of a color and the thoughts of a sound that coordinated? Let you guys type it. So, doing this practice begins to allow you to see how you can play with the energy fields. You will notice, most of you, even if you're not commenting, will have noticed some sort of shift in most likely the positive direction. Okay, so Christine says that it was helpful. Erica says, I feel like my frequency climbed afterwards. I feel lighter and more open. Okay, so, so as we connect more to our ability to manipulate energy, this is what you're going to find. You're going to find it shifted a lot for me. So Melissa shifted a lot, right? You can feel it. You can be having like a really shitty day and just go into the bathroom and stand in the mirror and do that practice where you're, and if you have like you're short on time, then just imagine the rainbow like really quickly, like ding 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 ding, ding lighting up, and you'll start to see that it was that alone, just playing with frequency, playing with the energy. Sound is energy, right? We know it. It goes like this. It makes it a wave. Light is energy. It's a frequency. We see the light spectrum. We have the sound spectrum. Energy and matter are on the same spectrum. It doesn't seem like it to us because I can't like pick out every single one of the individual photons from my ring light that's shining on me so that you guys can see me better and not just in the shadows. But I am matter, it is energy and light. We are actually the same, we're just on different spectrums. Okay. When you can start seeing the law of polarity and the law of spectrums in all of these different places, you begin to more easily manipulate your own energy field. If you're someone who noticed your throat was like totally cut, you're like, actually, yeah, my throat is really swollen. And actually, now that you talk about it, I can't hear out of my left ear like at all. And I feel like the exercise taught the energy. It continues to spread like the temperature in water. Yes, Aubrey. Yes. Right? So it's like putting in these pin drops. So then you start noticing, like I said, okay, so we're back at the throat. Then you start thinking about what the throat chakra dictates. Your voice, speaking your truth, discerning truth, because the throat chakra again affects the jaw as well as the ears, right? The throat, the jaw, and the ears. So are you hearing the truth? Are you actually listening when the truth is being presented? Are you afraid of what will happen if you speak your truth? Do you have past life trauma that might be coming up? A lot of people get murdered on this path in previous lives. So I've had to clear hangings. I've cleared having my throat slit, all sorts of things from my throat chakra as I was doing a lot of my chakra healing in the last year or so before I was gifted the Pleiadian throat chakra that I now have, and I was still healing my human one. Like there was a lot that I was healing in here. So this is why when you start learning about the different chakras, like the solar plexus chakra, it really very much affects your guts and how you're processing food and how you're absorbing food and what foods you're craving and what foods your body actually needs. So again, the anger that you have going on, any sort of alcoholism, any sort of substance issues, those are actually all solar plexus related. The sex drive, clearly that's pretty obvious. Sacral, sex drive. Root chakra. Root chakra is actually your ability to eliminate as well. So are you having consistent bowel movements? Do you feel open and in flow when you're it's a portal entryway in as well. So when you're having sex, do you feel like you're open there? So the lower chakras all interplay with each other. The upper chakras interplay with each other, and the throat chakra is the like meeting ground between the two. These energy centers are how you are interacting with the rest of the world, because this is how your body is translating the rest of the world, is through your chakra pillar, through your energy centers. And those energy centers are being dictated by the voices in your head. Which voice is louder? Is it the human ego voice that's like, this bitch is fucking crazy, you should just turn her off? Is it your higher self that is like, yes, thank you, someone's finally teaching this human vessel how to run the like electricity in here? So many clients will come to me and they've heard of chakras, they've done their Reiki, they're like level 4 Reiki masters. And we do this exercise and all of a sudden they're like, oh, so I've been walking around and had this house that had electricity in it, but I didn't actually understand how it was wired or where it was going or how to move or any of it, right? So now you can start playing with the energy a little bit more. So let's play. We have all of these different lights now lit up in our chakra pillars. So let's just remember, red for root, orange for sacral, yellow for solar plexus, green for heart, pink for higher heart, light blue for throat, indigo dark blue for third eye, and purple for crown. Okay? Just kind of see them all like that, like a stop sign, right? Or a stoplight. How you can still see that the color of the glass is red, green, and yellow, but like if a stoplight is like completely dead, like it's not working at all, nothing's like illuminating in it, right? So we're just gonna turn everything off to that sort of like you can see the hue of the color of each chakra, but there's no like actual light occurring, okay? And we're going to literally like a little kid that's like playing on a xylophone, we're going to do that with your chakras. So come into your body, come into the center. How do you feel? Just check in again. Set a baseline for feelings so that you can come back and have something to compare it to. Okay. Solar plexus yellow, throat light blue, root red, third eye indigo, sacral orange, heart green, crown purple, higher heart pink. C, F, B, G, A, D, E, yellow, red, green, purple. Okay, just start lighting them up now. Do it on your own. Create a symphony within your own body. Create the music in your own chakra pillar. Light them up. Okay, so just doing this again, you're not hearing the notes. You're not having those lights actually shown on you. All you're doing is thinking about it. Your brain emits a billion biophotons every second, and that's the average human, not a human that has any awareness of their third eye or how it works or having it open at all. Those of us with open third eyes are probably emitting multiple billions of photons per second. So energy is being emitted from our brains, going out there into the quantum field and attracting back to us whatever it is that our brain is thinking about. If all you're ever thinking about is how you don't have any fucking money, how your husband's a total asshole, how your kids don't know how to listen, how the government is out to get you, blah, 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 guess what your reality is going to look like? You never have any money, your husband's a total asshole, your kids don't know how to listen, and the government fucking sucks. And that's what you're going to experience in your physical reality because those are the thoughts that your brain is emitting. Those are the thoughts that are then wiring with the circuitry of your chakra pillars, which is then going to create the excess gut, right? Like we have this extra weight this weight that we carry within our core because we have to protect our core belief systems. Why? If we don't protect our core belief systems, someone's going to come and fucking assassinate us. Some story like that. Or we walk around like this with the weight of the world on our shoulders because we're these healers and we got to carry the world and we got to help them to ascend. But you're really actually like closing off your throat, you're closing off your heart, you're not really doing anything useful except for sticking your head so far out that no wonder your third eye is always underneath psychic attacks. It's not even like in line with the rest of your pillars, the rest of your chakras. Playing with the energy in motion within your body. This is just like level 1. The next level, which I am going to touch on just for a second, because I feel like it's going to help those of you who are like, yeah, okay, Caryn, I play with my chakras all the time. I want to be able to speak to the next level just a little bit. Is playing with the energy and motion of your emotions and how does it play into what we just did with the chakra pillars. Knowing which emotion the chakra pillars are in control of can be really helpful. I have that all in, it's coming. In the Dragon Academy, there's an entire module on this, so I'm not going to go super far into it. But right now, the best resource that you guys would have is the acupuncture meridians, and just the general emotions and which organs they relate to, and then finding which center is closest to those organs will help you dictate. Again, your willpower, your solar plexus actually has a lot of control over your liver, which is anger, gallbladder, also anger and frustration, as well as your stomach and spleen, which is worry and like deep guilt, right? Versus the sacral is more in control of the kidneys, and the kidneys are like fear related. Okay. Which is like a little example. The heart is clearly in charge of the heart. That sort of stuff. Your thyroid, all of that, that's dictated by your throat. So, and then you can look at the emotions. So the energy in motions, your emotions, your thoughts create a biochemical release within your adrenal glands, your hypothalamus, your thyroid, all of this stuff to release biochemicals within your bloodstream that are then received by receptors, and you have a feeling because of it. You have a feeling. I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm pissed, I'm turned on, whatever it is, but it's triggered by a thought that then releases a biochemical into your bloodstream that clings to the receptors back in your brain, and then you experience the emotion, the feeling behind it. That feeling then triggers a new thought that then triggers a new biochemical release, and you get stuck in a biochemical feedback loop from hell, where you're spiraling downwards, 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 and everything in the world sucks, or you're spinning up, 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 up in your total bliss consciousness, and you're just high on life all the time and having an orgasm just from taking a bite of food. It's scientifically chemical, like we can see it. We can actually watch a thought be formed and then watch the biochemical be released, and what, like, we can see this all with our scanners and our amazing technology that's finally caught the fuck up. Knowing that your thought is the thing that's creating the feeling means that you can then change your thought, which will then change your feeling. This is not the same as spiritual bypassing. So for all of you that are like, you're just teaching bypassing, no, I'm fucking not, because I'm actually taking the time to explain to you what's going on in your body on a physical, like, scientific level, and not just telling you to think happy thoughts. You can now manipulate how you feel to your advantage. When you're feeling betrayed and your heart is breaking in a million fucking pieces because the person you thought that was going to be your best friend and help you out for the rest of your life ends up stabbing you in the back and going and fucking your other best friend, you can take all of that energy, and instead of being like, oh no, I'm just going to think happy thoughts, you can go in there. You can be like, okay, sadness, anger, hate, betrayal, I'm going to allow you to play in my body for the sake of harnessing this energy. Betrayal and anger and hurt are all really good energies to actually store into, once you neutralize them, into your solar plexus and your heart, because it's going to give you more fuel, right? A lot of us who have experienced that heartbreak, once we've been able to process it, it's like, you know what? Fuck that, dude. I'm going to continue on anyway, right? It's because we've processed the emotions. We've now untangled the mess and the knot of the emotion that as it presented, and we've been able to harness it, and we're like, no, I'm going to continue forward. I'm still going to do me. You can do that in real time, though. You don't have to take all this time to heal the way that we used to, because time, again, doesn't exist. You can have a past life experience where you're like, you're reliving being hung. Like, it's intense. You can feel the thing around your throat. And in that moment, relax. And instead of having this past life that has a really negative hold on you, process, what was I feeling at the moment that I was being hung? Oh, I was pissed the fuck off. I felt betrayed. I don't trust anyone. And in that moment, okay, I harness it. I reclaim my power from that death experience. I reclaim my energy. I reclaim all the energy that I'm putting into reliving this past life over and over again. I'm pulling it into me, and I'm going to distribute that energy within my own chakra pillar system so that I can move forward with the guidance of my higher self, right? Your higher self is the one that's helping you see those past lives anyway. So asking for the help, right? Your oversoul is the one that's helping you be able to connect to all those different lifetimes. Your higher self's the one, like your little Jiminy Cricket in this lifetime, helping you truly connect into your divine mission and purpose. And your ego is here to keep you safe. Okay. We don't hate our ego. We're not trying to alchemize our ego. We're not trying to get rid of our ego. We want to love our ego and understand that its primary function is keeping this physical vessel safe. So by manipulating the energy and emotions, by getting really, really pissed off, afterwards, I can go out and rage in my backyard. I did this practice inside Superconscious Leaders where we did swamping. We were punching pillows and we were doing all this stuff. Afterwards, even though I was like panting pretty hard, after I got off that live stream, I had so many like downloads. I was sitting here just channeling and working. I had all of this energy as if I had drank like 7 cups of coffee in a Red Bull. But all I had done was actually move the rage and the anger and my frustration at the whole world and some of my personal problems had allowed that energy to move and to no longer be stuck in wherever it was holding. It could be holding in your shoulder, it could be holding in your gut, it could be holding just outside because you don't want to actually feel the feeling, so you're just like mentally like cut off from it. Like, I'm not going to allow myself to feel sad. I'm just not. I don't do sad. Right? That's a huge thing with the men that I work with. They're like, I'm a very conscious woke man, but you will never see me cry. And then when you do see them cry, it's like this, just a couple little like tears. And then eventually they're like in full sobs. And that's a few sessions into it. But they think that they're woke as fuck, but they never cry. Like, your body needs to cry. You need to process these emotions however you can so that the energy can move out of the matter stage and back into the energy stage. Because when it's back into the energy and motion stage, you get to then dictate, I'm going to take that sadness and put it towards speaking my truth. I'm going to actually tell this story about this abusive as fuck dude that I thought was some sort of life partner, whatever it is, right? I've been getting so many messages right now. The Schumann resonance, solar storms, false twins, karmic contracts, past lives. Like, a lot is going on right now. You're not alone. You're not alone. If you're in the middle of a great awakening and you're just like, oh my goddess, like, life is not what I thought it was. I thought I understood energy. I've been a Reiki healer for a while, but holy fuck, this is a whole new level. Welcome. This is quantum reality. This is dragons, okay? This is this knowing, this infinite knowledge, but how do you actually utilize it in your human body? Because it's great to have all this infinite understanding of how the universe works, but how can I manipulate it to my advantage to be able to then complete my divine mission here on this planet, right? The divine mission, of course, being the betterment of all humanity so that we can move Gaia 2 planes of consciousness into the 5th dimension with all of her inhabitants on it. Everyone has access to clean water, healthy food, education, shelter. All the base needs are met, and we're creating in pure love and unity consciousness. That's New Earth. That's the goal. It's the end goal. But if you don't understand that you are the energy in motion that's going to allow for that movement to occur, she's never going to move. You have to know that you're the conduit for this energy. How are you holding your structure? If you struggle to cry, is there a common release point? I will come back to that question just a second. If you are the structure, okay, so the structure that you are acting as this conduit of energy. That's why it's so important to light up your chakras every day. You wake up in the morning, you put your feet on the ground, you shoot your energy down to Gaia, and you pull it back up and you shoot your energy up to the cosmos. Yes, in that order, we want to be supported by Gaia and build from the foundation up. So many of you go and connect to the cosmos and never come back down and then wonder why your life is total chaos. Start with the ground, work your way up. Just doing these simple practices is going to allow for the flow of energy within your own chakral pillar to start clearing out. Just because you're standing in the grocery store and all of a sudden you notice your posture's a little out, you're just singing do re mi fa so to yourself, but as you're doing it, you're thinking do, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. right? And you're just doing that in your head in the grocery store. And all of a sudden you're able to manipulate your energy so much more. And then you're manifesting like fucking mad and all this crazy stuff's happening. Because you are matter. What matters to you? What you think about? What you think about? What matters? This matters to me. It really fucking matters to me that I don't have or that I do have. This matters. If you start hearing yourself say the words, this matters, this means something, this matters to me, you're dealing with something that you're putting energy into, and you have to look at your belief system as to why it matters. Because there's energy to be released there. Okay? Same thing with your emotions. First of all, why does it matter that you don't know how to cry? Let's start there. That would be a good release point. What is it about crying that makes you struggle? I'm answering Aubrey's question here. Aubrey's aha moment. I love those. Aubrey's asking, if you struggle to cry, is there a common release point? The first release point is what is the story around crying? Okay? Everything's a story. But what is the story around crying? What is it about crying? So for men, this is really easy because here in America, and well, just most Western, I mean, really anywhere, men aren't supposed to cry, right? Like, it's not, you don't cry if you're a guy. You just deal with it, you button up your emotions, you put them away, you lock them up, and you just don't. Like, it's not socially acceptable to cry. It's just not. You don't do that. You're weak, you're a sissy, whatever it is. So the first thing to do, if you have, and this will work for women too. So maybe you're a woman, but you were raised by a very intense man that was all like, if you're gonna cry, go fucking do that in your room. And by the way, our walls are super thin and I can hear if you're crying. And if I can hear you crying in the shower, I'm gonna come in and beat you. Like, you're gonna create a fear response around crying, right? Maybe instead of crying, you just shut up, you just go really inward, and your inner child is crying her eyes out, but you don't even shed a single tear, right? That's what I actually find most with my male clients, is that their inner child hurts really a lot. And as not nice as it might seem, doing the inner child work and pushing on those buttons is what will then release the point for crying. So the first thing you would do if you have a problem crying is, what's the story around crying that you have? The second thing is, where is your inner child? Where have they not been allowed to cry, and can you go back and allow for that release to happen instead for them? And then the third thing is to find that belief in your body. Okay. So where in my body, when I think about crying, like, okay, because I'm a crier, but like I still don't like to cry. When I cry, it's like, okay, it's like a big deal that I'm crying. I'm way, 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 way better at it, but I still don't like to. So when I think about crying, I immediately am like, I want to hold my breath and I feel it right here in the back of my throat. Like I want to stifle the cry. Like, oh, I don't want to be loud. I don't want to make any noise, right? So my beliefs around crying live here and also a little bit in my heart because I want to like hold my breath, right? I want to be like, and then like start calming myself immediately before any tears actually fall, right? So that's that response there. So when you find where the story is, and this could be used for any emotion. Maybe you're someone that literally never lets yourself get mad ever. You're like, nope, I don't get angry. But when you do get angry, you get so angry. You're like throwing pots and breaking shit, and your kids have to go to the neighbor's house, and you're like, I'm going for a drive. Fuck everything. Because we all get mad. Eventually, it all comes out. So when you think about like, oh, I never get mad, where is that story living? So for any emotion that you're like not very great, like some people even have a problem with laughing. Like, they won't laugh because they have a weird laugh, right? So it's like a judgment thing around the way that they laugh. So it'd be the same thing. What is the story around laughing? Why don't you allow yourself to laugh? What is it about your laugh? When you think about laughing, where does that story live in your body? So those are the most common release points for any emotion. What is an emotion that you don't allow yourself to play with, right? Like jealousy or like we have comparisonitis all the time and people just say, oh, just ignore the comparisonitis, get off Facebook, don't, whatever, then you can allow yourself to be jealous. Just use the jealousy for a purpose later. You don't want to get stuck in a spiral, which is what we're coming to here for you, Josh, in a second. You don't want to get stuck in that spiral. You want to be able to see the jealousy, see the color, feel the energy, and then pull the translation of the energy out. And so it's no longer jealousy, it's no longer rage, it's just the energy of the emotion that you're then coming and putting into your body. You're not pulling anger in and holding on to anger. You're creating from the energy of anger. The translation of energy has been softened because you become aware, oh, I'm really, really angry. I'm going to honor my anger. I'm going to allow myself to get pissed off. But instead of being tired after my raging out, I'm going to pull that energy back into me, reclaim my power from my temper tantrum, and go create something really fucking cool. I want to allow myself to have the fucking temper tantrum, right? This isn't Abraham Hicks shit where it's like everything is always working out for me and I can be positive all the time. Dragons get pissed. We fucking blow fire. We break shit. All of this stuff. Yeah, we're alchemizing emotions. That's exactly what you're doing. I'm going to come up here. I was an alcoholic due to my dad passing on belief system heavy stuff meant to drink. Sober for years now, thankfully. Good. Yeah, see. Yeah, got it. Got it. Sweet. Yeah, so alcoholism is anger. Let's just put that out there right now. So if you don't allow yourself to get angry because you don't have a healthy cathartic way to be angry, um, drinking and substance abuse is going to be a thing for you. So getting a big ass sledgehammer and a tire will actually help a lot. Going kickboxing, the swamping exercise that I did, we were literally just using pillows and like towels. And we were just punching pillows and like throwing them around and like whipping towels and smacking the wall and raging. We were allowing that rage to occur in our body and our sadness and our betrayal to occur in our body by moving it around, and then afterwards coming it pulling it back in, like instead of just dispersing it in a giant rage where like it's going to go hit my husband, it's going to go hit my kids, it's going to whatever. We created this giant energy ball and then we said, okay, we're going to sit with that, we're going to pull it all back in now that it's neutralized, because inside of my body it was acting like rage, inside of my body it was acting like betrayal. I couldn't get my thoughts out of the rage and the betrayal that I was feeling in my body, because my thoughts were like, I'm fucking hurt. I feel betrayed. This guy's an asshole. I can't fucking believe that this happened. Blah, 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 blah. And the way that you move it out is by just like detaching the brain, putting on the music, raging out, singing, painting, like throwing fucking paint, right? Whatever it is, these really big motion things, getting the energy out so that you no longer have a judgment about the energy. It's not that this is the energy of betrayal anymore. Once it's out of your body, it's neutralized. Once it's out of your body, it can be anything you want it to be. And then you pull it back in as neutralized energy to then go and create with. Instagram, I'm going to warn you right now, babes. You're about 2 minutes in. We might get cut off. I will jump back on, or you can join us over on Facebook. Just giving you a 2-minute warning because this might go off. Okay. I honor the emotion, find the root, clean it, and integrate it. Yeah. So if you're someone who cries all the time, like you're just sitting there watching Moana and you've watched Moana 1,000 times before, and yet every single time you see Moana hold the fucking rock up and to cause like coming for the heart, and Moana's just like, I know who you are. I see you. And she puts the heart of Tafiti back in Tafiti, and Taka turns into Tafiti, and you're just like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. Everything makes me cry. Oh my god, the sunset's making me cry. You're like a you're like a you're like a sunburn. Okay, you're too sensitive at this point. Any sort of emotion is like triggering an emotion response, and that's actually usually because you haven't healed the emotions that need to be healed, right? It's like getting a sunburn, having that like peeling happen, and then going directly back out into the sun and being like, yeah, I'm fine. And then you're just like repeatedly burning this place over and over, and it hurts, and you process it and you peel it and you do whatever. but you need to actually heal the wound. You have to heal the reason why. What is it that makes it so that your emotions are that floating on the surface? Because if they're floating on the surface that easily that you cry at everything, you're not integrating the emotion into you either. Most likely because you're afraid of the deeper levels of emotion, the really deep connection, the really deep magic that you would have access to if you kept the energy, if you didn't allow the energy to stay surface, I guess is the best way to put that. Why didn't it keep my title? Sorry, guys. On my Instagram. Always gets cut off at exactly an hour. I don't know why. Insulation from my empathy and connection to, yeah. So substance abuse can be that too. It can be a way for you to be like, you know what? Fuck feelings. I don't like having feelings. I have all these feelings. I cry at fucking everything. The best way for me to harden is to numb. So if you're numbing your emotions by using substances, then you're not integrating them. All of your energy and motion is still, like I just said, surface level. It's not coming all the way in. So there's really deep core wounds. Not as much ancestral wounding as we would like there to be, because that's shirking responsibility onto previous ancestors. Like, oh, here, my ancestors were all these things. Here's all this story. Like, story, 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 story. Why are you the one dealing with it in this time, in this space, right now, for you? Has probably a lot less to do with your ancestors and a whole lot more to do with your inner, like your childhood. Honestly. Instead of dealing with like those people back in the slavery days that were raping and pillaging, deal with your daddy issues. Deal with your abandonment issues. Deal with that first heartbreak. Deal with the best friend that betrayed you, and that's the reason why you ended up in jail for 6 months. Whatever it is, you guys, I've heard it all, I've seen it all. There are very little things that shock me nowadays about what has happened to some of us in this lifetime or other lifetimes. But we need these big triggers. We need to feel it all. Empathy is a superpower. When you can feel it all, when you can feel the good emotions and the bad emotions without judgment, without a story behind why you're feeling them, you can then harness the energy and create more. By harnessing the energy, you're going to create a more solid container so that you don't cry at everything. So that you don't feel like you're walking around like a giant sunburn. So you don't feel like you can't go out to other people's houses because you're going to take on all their shit in your energy field. Sorry, I feel like super bad. And I'm not talking to IG right now. Because this is good shit. Okay. So when you have that sunburn feeling, like you just cry at everything, you're like super overly sensitive, it's because you're not opening the deeper layers because you want to numb. You're like, oh my god, if this is what surface layers feel like, fuck, this is what surface emotions feel like, I do not want to know what deep emotions feel like. If this is what surface level commitment feels like, what the fuck does like deep, deep, deep commitment feel like? If this is what super surface level pain feels like, I don't want to know deep pain. And if I don't want to know deep pain, I'm not going to create a deep connection that would then allow me to have that deep pain, including the deep connection with yourself, which is the only connection that matters. We're talking about energy in motion. Energy equals matter times the speed of light squared. The only relationship that actually matters is the one that you have with yourself and the inner union of shadow and light you can have within yourself. So if you're still judging your substance abuse issues, you're still judging your promiscuity issues, right? I have clients that are, they're dealing with sexually transmitted diseases. And then as we're working together, it's really actually this huge shame story around this promiscuity that caused that led them to receiving, like getting the STD. And then once they're able to clear the shame, guess what? Some of them haven't had like breakouts in like a year now because we were able to clear it, right? I cured myself of fibromyalgia. I cured myself of degenerative arthritis in every joint in my body. This is how I did it. I did it by working energy by energy, chakra by chakra, working emotion by emotion, and dropping the judgment about having them. Being an empath is the best gift when you learn how to use it like a superpower, when you learn how to harness the energy and take the name away from it. It's not sadness or happiness or jealousy or elation, it's just energy. Okay? The energy of anger is very hot and electric, and like lots of shit can happen, and lots of things have happened because people were pissed the fuck off. And lots of really good things happen when you're really, really happy and like on the side of orgasm. If you were look at the energy patterns like in a body of a scan of a person, the only difference is actually what area of the brain is lit up when you're thinking about anger versus when you're thinking about happiness. The actual body feel that's occurring is the same. Okay. Your heart starts pounding faster. You start sweating more. You start breathing a little bit more. If you just look at the body itself when someone's super angry, and you look at just the body itself when someone's like really horny and turned on, the body itself looks the same as having the same reactions. What's different is where in the brain is it occurring? Where does the thought come from? Itself. Okay. That's why your thoughts create your reality. That's why your thoughts are what you need to learn how to manipulate more than anything. That's what Abraham Hicks is really trying to say. Not to bypass your emotions and just immediately switch them to happy ones. It's to understand that you have the ability to have these really deep, 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 depressed, like deep emotions, like the ocean deep. But even the ocean has a bottom, right? Even the ocean has some structure somewhere. So the deeper you can go, the higher up you can then bounce afterwards. And now what we're learning is how to not have to go as low to then bounce just as high, right? It's like a trampoline, right? You don't feel like you're really like pushing the tramp that much further down, but you are. You ever seen someone jumping on a trampoline like comes within this far of the ground and then they go, whoa. So energy and motion, how to play with the energy and motion, right? Just again, really connecting to this idea of play, dropping the dropping the judgment, right? Dropping this like, oh, I do like even just having that story, right? Okay, now I have a new story. You can change your story whenever the fuck you want. You could have a new story an hour from now for all I care. But if right now what helps you to break out of, okay, I have a really hard problem crying, notice what's the story around crying, or I cry at fucking everything. Either one, you have an emotional response occurring that you're not loving. You don't love that you cry constantly, and you don't love that you don't love that you can't cry. And it's like fucking impossible for you to cry. You never cried anything. There's a story behind each of them. Just by looking at the story, you start to like unwind it and start letting that energy out a little bit, a little bit. Then you have the different tools that you can use, like the chakra pillar animation that we just did, or like any of your tools that you have, um, past life regression, inner child healing, whatever it is that you need to do to then start to honor and allow it, right? Like, I honor that I don't cry. It's okay. I'm a badass bitch. I've held it down. Here's all of the circumstances in my life. Here's all the reasons why I don't cry. Like, I'm very aware of them. And then honor that and let it go. Like, I honor these stories and I'm ready to let them go because I would like to be deeply connected to my emotions. I would like to be able to release using tears and water. Or, for the other end, I honor that I cry at everything. I honor that I am very sensitive and an extreme empath who picks up on energy so easily. And I'm ready to release that story. I'm now able to hold my own energy field. I'm able to keep that energy contained within me. Because if you're crying all the time, it's really like not a weakness, but it's like you don't want to hold on to the power of the emotion, so you're just going to let it out by crying instead. So there's a worthiness thing, like, am I worthy of holding on to that sort of energy? Who am I to be teaching this? Who am I to be powerful enough to do the work that the empathy would give us, like the ability to do, right? Honoring that empathy is a superpower. There's so much emotion coming at you and you can feel it all, but feeling it all and you're acting like a sieve where it just like goes through you, that shit's not helping. You need to learn how to hold it and harness it and honor it, right? And honor all the emotions. Because when you can feel it all, you can be tuned in to your higher self. You can be tapped into your oversoul. So then you can start playing all of the different timelines, connecting to past lives, future lives, pulling in all of that knowledge so that you're tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. Turned on as in a bright fucking light, like a lighthouse in the storm, which is what we all are. Light bearers, way showers, torch bearers, whatever fucking word you want. Super conscious leader, dragon, whatever word works for you, that is what we are here to be. That's the turn on part. If you're tapped in and you're tuned in, like, oh, I'm tuned into the universe, I totally understand. There's such a big difference between understanding and knowing, right? This knowing that I'm talking about is deep in your bones. It's a way of being. Like, you can't be anything but who you be in the energy of your dragon because you have programmed out of you any other way of being. I could understand, like, I understand um, mathematics, right? Because we're talking about E equals MC squared. I understand it, but I don't know it. Like, I'm pretty familiar with how to work with the energies of pi and phi, but some of the other ones, I'm like, still learning how to work with absolute zero, right? I understand your concept. I'm getting there. The singularity is a lot more easy for me to understand than I used to or know it, but I don't like know it. So we take the pain and instead of conduing it to source, you forge it into universe juice within yourself. Yeah. You take the pain and you take the story of pain away. I had fibromyalgia. Every single cell in my body was in pain. I laid in my bed for a year, pretty much a year, multiple years. I couldn't pick my kid up. I couldn't lift anything. I couldn't go anywhere. Couldn't stay out with my friends. I was in my 20s, early 20s with a baby. My husband, my kid, my parents helped a lot. And I couldn't move. Everything was pain. Everything hurt. My whole body hurt. And that was my story. I'm in pain. The doctors tell me it's this. I don't want to take the medications because they make me go insane. The chemicals of the pharmaceuticals made me go crazy. Like, I was driving on the freeway without knowing it, like rage, total crazy person. So I decided that I would get stoned every day instead. So I had this story about, cannabis helps me, and it did. It helped me a ton. Like, don't get me wrong, but then I still had this story like I can't function without weed. Now I can. I can go like months without smoking weed and I'm fine. So taking the story of pain, you're just taking energy, Josh. Like, that's it. This is energy and motion coming. The second, this is a practice that you can do just for fun. On the full moon, the new moon that's coming out, everyone's going to be setting intentions, right? There, a bunch of people are releasing stuff right now. We've got the solar storms, the Schumann resonance off the fucking charts again. It blacked out again like multiple times this week. As soon as someone decides, like, I'm sitting here and I'm releasing my pain, right? I release my fibromyalgia pain. I'm releasing. In their body, they feel it as pain. The second they go and release it and they burn it, they're turning it into neutral energy. They just don't want to hold on to it anymore. So you're in the next house over and you've got a netting system set up essentially where any free floating energy that's been neutralized comes into your space and you can harness it and you can use it. So on big energy days, like big portal days, like 3-3, I was out. All these people are releasing all this energy because it was a really good release point day because, it was right after the full moon. and I'm just picking up the free energy, right? I'm walking around blissed out like I'm high on ecstasy all the time, not because I'm just bypassing my thoughts and not allowing myself to feel anger. It's that I'm picking up free energy that's neutralized all over the place all the time as a part of my own belief structure. So you take the energy that maybe someone else felt as pain. They in their body it feels like pain. In their body, they're in a ton of pain, like I was with fibro. But you're taking it as they're releasing it and it's immediately neutralized. And that's the belief system that you have. I don't take on pain, I take on energy. That's it. How it then translates in my own body because of my own thought processes, that makes me be an authority of my energies. I'm no longer victimized by other people's energy. That's a huge fucking belief structure that needs to be rewritten for empaths. You're not a victim to other people's energy. If you're being feeling victimized by it, it's something within your own belief structure that needs to be rewritten and recoded. No one's like blasting you with their anger trying to hurt you on purpose. It's that you feel blasted by, yeah, universe truths, exactly. And yeah, just turn it into your own chi, your own kundalini, your, like I call it dragon energy, right? Your chi force, your kundalini force, your ability to create. This is how you create from chaos. Human emotions are fucking chaotic, okay? Hang out with a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old for an afternoon and you will see this shit, okay? But they don't have the filter as much on their body, so they're able to go from screaming in the corner, freaking out about their dolly, and you can distract them with a cookie and they're back to playing with their friends and everything's totally fine. Because of our stories and our beliefs and all of the experiences that we've had as adults, it's a little bit harder to redirect us, but we can. We connect and then we redirect. We connect to the energy. We connect to the. I understand that I am bawling at this fucking children's movie and that I'm the only grown man in this theater and I am crying my eyes out in this movie theater right now. That's because I can feel the energy and the love and the story that was put into this movie. But I'm going to hold it, and instead of letting it run through me, instead of being this sieve, this like leaky faucet, I'm going to. This is such a beautiful story. What a heartwarming story, right? Just that. Switch it from a sadness, oh my God, this story is so sad, to wow, this story really warms my heart. It really just like fills me with this emotion. And instead of allowing the emotion to like bubble up through your throat and then you're crying, you're like, oh yeah, this feels good. I really, oh, this feeling of power and this feeling of just emotion that's flowing through your body, this energy in motion that's in me right now. Oh my God, I'm ready to go fuck. Let's go make a baby. I'm ready to go paint. Oh my God, I got 15 songs playing in my head. I got to go compose. Okay? It's constant reframe. Connect to the emotion. What is it trying to teach me? How do I honor you? Redirect it somewhere else. Take the chaos, turn it into creation. You don't have to do it immediately either. It's not like an immediate thing, but you will notice a lot of you who've been following me for a long time know that sometimes I get on Facebook Live and it is very obvious that I've been crying, or in the middle of it, I start to cry again. Because for me, the catharsis and the creation point is teaching. I'm a teacher. I'm a 9 of clubs. I'm infinite knowledge. I teach. I also do, so it's not that whole like those who don't do teach. I do as well in my own personal life. I practice all of these practices, but I teach. That's how I mostly create. But I teach on levels of live streams. I also teach on levels of festivals. I teach in my books. I teach my children. Like it's just how I create. Other people create music. Like I create music too, right? The bespoke dragon invocations. You guys know it's dragon tongue. It's a singing. Aubrey, who's on here, is a fucking amazing artist, and I could just walk through her house and look at all the fucking paintings she has everywhere. So she's harnessing her emotions that way. Josh, you're a fucking musician. Like, go pick up your guitar the next time that you're super sad, or the next time you want to use one of those substances that you know that you're abusing. Go play. And if you start making a story like, well, I play my guitar better when I have a shot of whiskey, why? Why does it matter? Why does the alcohol matter to you? Right? Why does anything matter? Because if it matters, then you're putting energy into it. And if you're putting energy into it, it's going to solidify. You have to break that up. It's decalcifying these stories and loosening up the energy so that you can have access to it to do something else. What do you do with something simple like a varicose vein? How do you energetically heal or address those? Well, first of all, varicose veins, get yourself some wintergreen oil. This is not energetically, but physically, get yourself some oil. Wintergreen. Wintergreen oil with a little bit of a carrier oil, rub it on your varicose veins. Secondly, varicose veins are very interesting because usually they show up along meridians. So you would then, yeah, so cigarettes and whiskey make my voice bluesy. If you like that, fine. But if you're sick of that, then your voice is bluesy because you have the ability to make your voice bluesy. The cigarettes and the whiskey don't have anything to do with it. Okay, the varicose veins. Where is it? So look, like I have some varicose veins down right here at the base. I'm pointing to something that you can't see. Instagram, you can see it. I have varicose veins right here. They're not that bad right now. I actually used to have a bruise like right here that I had had since I was pregnant with my oldest, who's going to be 13 this year. But the varicose veins were like popping out, like they were intense and big. And this meridian is the kidney meridian. So it's the fear meridian. So and it was really close to the ground, right? So I cleansed most of the fear out of my body. But right here, right in that final 6 to 8 inches from where it would actually fully release out of my body, I was still clinging on to the fear. Okay. And that close to the body, it's the fear of instability, like that close to the ground, right? You don't feel stable. You're not actually grounded in your belief system. And the reason why you're not grounded in your belief system is because you have a fear of getting put into the ground, meaning this fear of dying. Now, that's mine specifically, right? So I'm just letting you know for me personally, other clients, they might have varicose veins on the other side of their leg. And then we would look at the gallbladder meridian, right? So look at where your yeah, so kidney is fear. Kidney meridian is fear. Where is it? So then you can see like where on your leg is it actually. If it's closer up here on your thigh, then you haven't actually released as much fear as you want because you have to think about like in proximity to your kidney. Yeah, the kidney meridian's a little bit like longer and it goes down your back, but in proximity to your kidney, how far away is the varicose vein will tell you how much you've actually released the fear because you might think like, oh yeah, I'm totally not afraid, but I have a giant varicose vein right above my knee. So I'm actually still pretty fucking afraid and I'm lying to myself. That's why it's like impossible to spiritually bypass or emotionally bypass when you work with me because I teach you too much physical reality for you to do that. What would be gallbladder be? Yeah. So gallbladder is deep. Like liver is masculine yang anger. Gallbladder is feminine yin anger. Like that resentful wife that waits until all of the kids are out of the house and then murders the husband, right? Like that deep seated, like there's a reason why more women than men get their gallbladder removed, right? We have this like, while men aren't allowed to get sad, women aren't supposed to get angry, right? So it's like it's not like the random burst of anger. Again, that's the liver, which is why more men seem to have alcoholism issues, and it's related to the liver, is because they're more prone to those big outbursts. Women have their gallbladder removed more often because they're more likely to sit there and fester their anger and like hold it in a tiny little, like, I'm gonna squeeze it down into this tiny little fucking ball, and that ball just happens to also be right here, and oh, then it explodes, and I wonder what happened because you weren't releasing it healthily. So yeah, frustration. So if you have varicose veins along your gallbladder meridian, then you have stuck frustration that while you might have cleared it out of your organ, you're working on clearing it, you haven't fully released it into the planet. So the varicose veins are just stuck It's stuck energy. And you'll notice varicose veins are almost like 95, I would say 96% of the times they are along a meridian, like very obviously along a meridian. Yeah, this is the stuff, guys, that we talk about. Like, we touch on the accelerated ascension boot camp, but it's the reason why I'm making the Dragon Mystery School. Like, there's a reason why you're gonna start hearing about it, and I think that we actually start the course mid-May, so we're going to be opening the doors for that really soon. It's like an intense 12-week journey, but I don't know how to do it any other way than taking like a whole class through it, right? Because of this sort of stuff, there's going to be things that I don't think about that when we're in our discussion in the classroom, the virtual classroom, you'll be able to ask and I'll be able to teach it because I have the knowledge to teach it, but you have to have the right questions asked to unlock it sometimes. Sweet, guys, this was so fun. Okay, so I hope that you saw the first part of this Instagram. I know it's in two parts. Facebook, go back. Having a lot of fun. Let's do a little recap and go and be done with our day. I've got swimming in a little while. I'm super stoked. Energy and motion. E equals mc squared. Energy is equal to mass or matter times the speed of light squared. The speed of light squared is equal to energy times mass. Okay, remember this goes in all directions. Therefore, energy and mass or matter cannot be created or destroyed. It just switches what it looks like. Okay. Emotions are energy in motion. Your chakra pillar system, the 7 or 8 main chakras within your body, all rotate outward and create their own electromagnetic field that then interweave with your chi system, your meridian points, the other energy systems, your brain itself that emits all sorts of biophotons. And the chakra pillars itself and your belief structures and your thoughts are what create your physical matter, your physical reality. How I was able to cure myself of fibromyalgia, how it was by handling my mental and emotional duress. Literally. I started cleaning up my thought processes. I cleaned up my victimization. I cleaned up this is happening to me story. And you cannot prove on a scientific level that I have fibro. They will never say that I am cured. They will tell you I'm in remission, but I don't have any signs or symptoms of fibromyalgia at all, period. And I was diagnosed when I was 20. And I know lots of people that have done this because fibro is physicalized PTSD. But we've done it with other things. Like I said, I've had clients that had sexually transmitted disease that are no longer in flares because they were able to release the shame story and the guilt story. Substance abuse, alcoholism, all these things. It's still all the energy. What matters to you? It really matters to me that I'm a cocaine addict. Okay, if it matters to you that you're a cocaine addict, then maybe we should start with that. Why are you a cocaine addict? What is the story around it? And if you try to tell me, well, the chemicals in the cocaine affect my brain and makes me be addicted, I know plenty of people who use cocaine that never get addicted to it, right? So again, it's everything's a fucking story. And I know it's hard and I know that it sounds like I don't care when I tell you that, but you guys, you are the author. You have the pen. You are the one who is writing the play. Your oversoul knows the answer. Your higher self's trying to tell you. Your ego's trying to keep you safe because it can remember, all of the lifetimes that you were murdered for speaking your truth. And it's your job to have the conviction to say, you know what? No, I'm fucking done with this story. I am not in pain. I am not just gonna live the rest of my life on my couch watching my children grow up. Like, I wouldn't have even been able to have my second and my third kid if I hadn't just started the process. This was me stopping being a day drinking mom, and that like at least started my process of getting off of the couch and no longer having fibro. Okay, just gonna say your chapter in Ascension. Super stoked to read. Yes. Ascension Volume 1 is out. For those of you who haven't read that chapter, I've been getting so many messages from you guys. It's amazing. This is the work. This is the work. The work right here. Control your own shit. Your thoughts are things. Your thoughts emit energy. What you think about is what matters to you. Why does it matter that he ghosted you? Why does it matter that she cheated on you? Why does it matter that you have no money in the bank? Why does it matter that your children act this way? What is the story? Why does it matter? Because that is what you're putting your energy into, and it's condensing and it's calcifying and it's getting harder and harder for you to unwork. When you can reframe the story, when you can release the story, when you can really objectively look at it, which is why having a coach is so fucking important, because I'm not emotionally attached to your sobriety. I love you. I want you to be sober. I don't want you to have to. And I think it's kind of amusing that we went here, but I mean, it's a really good. A lot of people numb. Tons of empaths numb. Tons of empaths are getting stoned all day long and doing hape all day long and drinking wine, right? They're going from coffee to wine, all these things just to numb their emotions. Their most powerful superpower, they're numbing them out because they're afraid of the feelings. They're afraid of the power. Because there's a story around power. There's a story around feelings. There's a story if I allow myself to cry, then this. If I allow myself to get angry, then this. But it's all a story, and it can all be reframed. What matters to you is what will be the matter that is around you. What story would be for people that carry extreme weight? Protection for the most part. Protection mechanisms, depending on where your th- weight is being carried. Core belief systems need to be released. I mean, it's mostly protection and then just like not willing to move, right? So you have all this stuff that matters to you, like all this old trauma, all these old stories that you're just like, but if I let them go, can I be safe? I also used to weigh almost 200 pounds. I lost half of my body size. So I went from a size 8 US to a size 14 US in 10 weeks doing mirror work. So when it comes to manipulating the physical body using energetics, that's my forte. But it's not, it is like going to a boot camp. Like this, it's like going to one of those, like The Biggest Loser, right? Where they get everything taken away and they're like in it. That's what working with me one-on-one feels like, because we're going to pull apart every single one of your stories and help you to rewire that so that you can be projecting. Like what you see before me is me choosing how I project into the world right now. I could decide if I really cared. Like I've had clients that change their hair color. Like they really didn't want to be brunette anymore. They wanted to be auburn. So they're changing their hair color, they're changing their booty, all these things. Epigenetics on a physical level. It'll change your thoughts. It filters down to the physical. Yeah. Do you conduit to source in Bodywork, or do you absorb it and alchemize it and use it? In my Bodywork, I conduit. Mostly because of like a fairness and equal exchange. I feel like if I'm getting paid, then I already have the energy exchange that's occurring there. So I don't need to like take any of their energy. I try to also just move the energy within my clients so that we don't have to clean any of it up. Like we're just rearranging it. That would be a really good live though. So I'm gonna write that one down because we're already like 30 minutes over what we would normally talk. Um, yeah, I would love to describe to you guys how that works. But for you, Josh, I would just start. I would I would conduit it. I would just send it back until you're able to manipulate your own energy field with this. You don't want to be trying to like deal with your client's energy and alchemizing it too. Sorry, I'm making a little note for a live stream we'll do later. We'll probably talk about that one inside Superconscious Leaders, honestly. So for those of you who are inside the Superconscious Leaders Facebook group, it's in my bio, just facebook.com/group/superconscious leaders. We have a live stream every Thursday. That's more, you guys think this stuff's intense. This is what I teach the general public. Like come and play. We do a lot more of this exercise type work in there every Thursday at noon Mountain. Yep. Perfect. I love you guys. This was so fun. Okay, so practice the chakra pillars, light them up, feel your body, get to know your physical vessel, guys. Like get to know her or him. Like explore, play, self-pleasure, sit in the sun, connect to your chakra field, like feel where your body is in time and space, okay? Just like hold it, know it, love it. Because this is the physical vessel. This is the projection of your higher self into physical form. Okay? If you have a problem with your physical body and you have dealings with anything that we're talking about This was an amazing live. We're talking about substance abuse. We're talking about empathy. We're talking about emotions that aren't in correct alignment, energy, light, biophotons, all the things. It's all the same though. That's what I hope that you can take. You can use this tool for anything, any situation. Connect to how you're feeling. How do I feel right now? That I walked into the kitchen and there's a dozen eggs smashed all over my floor. My daughter is covered in eggs and she's laughing like a hyena because she thinks it's amusing as fuck. I'm going to connect to this. I'm connecting to the energy of piss the fuck off right now. And my initial reaction is that I want to fucking scream and freak out at her and throw her in the bathtub. But I'm going to connect. I'm really angry. I'm going to honor my anger. And I'm going to choose to laugh instead. And laugh it out. Or I'm going to choose to take a second and go punch a pillow real quick. And then I'm going to come back and clean up the eggs, right? This is that super consciousness, right? Super conscious. Not just like, oh, I'm aware that I'm pissed off and I'm still going to act this way. It's, or after the fact, like, oh, the reason why I did that. It's being able to catch yourself in the moment and change your reality in the moment, right? I have yet to be able to walk into that situation and just like Mary Poppins snapping my finger, all the egg gets cleaned up by itself. But at least while I'm cleaning up all the eggs, I'm in a good mood about it and I'm not pissed, right? Baby steps. Baby steps. Okay. Christine, I want to hear all about your mind-blowing work. How do you project yourself in the world is simply your story. Yep. Yes. How you project yourself into the world is simply your story. That's it. That's it. You have a story around everyone in your family's overweight. You have a story around some fucking disease that some doctor told you that you have. Whatever. It's all just a story. Like everything is really just a story. And you're the author and you have the pen. You can rewrite the story at any second. And what's awesome is that just the act of unblocking the unconscious belief and like making it conscious. Oh, I didn't know that I believed this. Now I understand that I have this belief. Just that act is the clearing process. You don't have to be like, oh, I now have this belief that I have to go clear. It was an unconscious belief that you now be made conscious. You've released the energy. You did it. It's done. We don't have to spend all this time healing. We really don't. That sounds like a true story. So good. Okay, so true story, guys. True story. You are energy in motion. You have the power to create your own reality based on your thoughts, how you interact, how you play with the electromagnetic field of your emotions, and how you use the other chemicals and substances in the world is, again, just your story. I know a lot of people that use all of the substances that we've talked about them in a very healthy, plant-based medicine, like ceremonial way, and they don't have the story of the addictions and the abuse. It's a little bit harder to clear those out because the abuse, the substance abuse stuff has a lot to do with that emotional stuff that you don't even want to look at. All of that. The deep inner child work, all of those things that need to be done. Like this isn't your, we're not here to be a band-aid. We're here to be a cure. Okay? We're going to cure humanity of its addiction to suffering. That's what we're here to do as dragons, okay? And I love you. Thanks so much for joining me this week. I had so much fun. IG, if you guys want to watch this whole live back to back instead of 2 pieces, it will be uploaded to the YouTube channel real soon. Links in my bio. Facebook, you'll have it for always, but it will still be on the YouTube channel. I love you. We'll see you next week. I believe we're doing a dragon invocation next week. I'm not, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, exactly. Precisely. So, I love you. Have a beautiful night, day, whatever time it is where you are in the world. I know some of you are literally about to go to bed and some of you are just waking up, but I love you. Have an awesome time wherever you are in this time-space continuum. We'll see you next week, 10 a.m. Mountain. I love you.